Hey guys, it's Matt. It is Saturday, October 3rd. I'm going to do the recap for the week of Monday, September 28th through October 2nd. Started off as a really slow week. You can see Monday here, I took plug, PLUG. There was really nothing on the watch list that morning, nothing easy to borrow, and just nothing in general. It was a really slow day. And but this PLUG ended up popping up. I forget how I found it. Might have just been. I have a scanner that does like the change from the open, and they ranks high to low. So I think that might have, because it opened way down here, so it may have been off that scanner, or maybe somebody called it out in the room that I'm in. But either way, you can see it popped up here to like a 13 area, and then pulled back to VWAP, and then probably zoom in on this a little bit for you guys. Uh, Please look at this from a distance. That makes sense. So yeah, it popped up here to this 13 area, pulled back to VWAP, that's this purple line, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take a short here, maybe see if this is going to just double top. Really tight stop on this one, just because that's the play. Either it turns around here, it or it keeps going. And so you can see what it did. It kept going for a little while. So I was basically shorting front side here. I mean, this wasn't really giving me a signal that it was all done yet. It was above pre-market high. So um, anyway, tight stop. It was only 200 shares at 1303, and the stop was at 1310. So small loser, literally. I mean, 12 bucks that I gave to the market. Also, I bought a call. I have an options account that I bought a call in Apple um, for a swing trade. That gets stopped out the next day. Um, this is the thing with, we won't go into detail here, but options are a whole nother game if you've thought about those but haven't really looked into them. So the price of Apple was like $1 higher on Tuesday when I got stopped out. So it was $1 higher from where I entered the trade on Monday, but I still got stopped out $10 lower on my option trade, or 10 cents per contract on my options trade. So because there's, with options there's time decay and all kinds of other stuff, so it's it's kind of a pain in the ass. If you time options right, they can be really they can give you some leverage, and they can be really really good, but man, they can be a pain in the ass too. So Tuesday, September 9th, this is another really slow day. There's some stuff on the gap list, but none of them were easy to borrow for me and CMEG. And so this HUSA ended up breaking pre-market high, so that's nice. Let's actually take a look at that. Where it be? There it is. This one. So you can see, yeah, this popped up and then pulled back, and made a good run. While it was doing this run here, there were all these times where it would like look like it was going to halt to the upside, and then it would pull back a little bit, and then the halt level would move up, and it would run right up to that halt level, and then it would pull back a little bit, and then the halt level would move up, and it would run right up to that halt level. It was crazy. Like whatever, yeah, whatever algo or whatever they've got running was just walking that price up, which it was interesting to see. We saw it a couple times this week actually, so that's something to pay attention to, and maybe get used to. But I was like, all right, I'm going to look for this washout down here to the 450s. I know you can't really see it on the screen right now, but this is the 450 level here. Uh, and so this thing finally does, it halted once on the way up, and then it resumes, opens, and it drops down here, and it fake halts right here. And as it popped up, I got in here. I think my entry was like 475. Yeah. And it was just 50 shares because I was, again, this is a small account, and I'm not a cowboy by any means. I'm pretty conservative with my share size, and so I didn't know what the hell this thing was really going to do. I mean, I figured if it fake halted like that, it was going to pop back up, but and you can see here, like my balls shriveled up pretty quickly once I was in this position, because I got a little bit of profit. It was like, get out, get out. Because I was thinking this thing could just roll over too. I mean, low of day was down here. I don't know. I don't even know what this is. Can we? I don't know if I have the. Yeah, that's in the twos, right? So, you could have just got housed. I mean, this thing could have just halted again, or it could have fake halted to the downside like it was doing to the upside. So I just small size. Obviously, I got out way too early. I got out at like 5:01, but it was up here at 6:25. I mean, that's a different trade if I held it back to the run to high of day. But yeah, like I said, I didn't trust this thing at all. It was almost just an impulsive move to get in. But anyway, it was a quick $13 trade. So I basically broke even from my small loss on Monday, and with fees and everything, I'm probably a little in the negative there over the first 2 days of the week. And you can see I stopped out of that Apple trade, like I said earlier. So let's see. Wednesday, no trades. Turd watch list today. So these were the things on watch. They were all on the Gap scan, all under $4. None of them were easy to borrow. I don't think. I think CMEG doesn't do easy to borrow under $5 maybe. I forget what there's a $5 rule at CMEG. I don't know if it's margin on shorts or if they just don't allow easy to borrow shorting. I forget. There's something under $5 or $4, whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't really play those stocks much anyway. You can see this one was just above that. Uh, but yeah, this $13 range, at kind of a 10 and above is really usually where I do pretty well. Anyway, I was so bored this day. I started trading Apple, and I was like an idiot. I was buying puts. Um, so one thing I've been reading a book. Shit, I'm not gonna remember the name of the book. It's by Denise Schull. It's like the psychology book about the markets. So, um, and basically one of the main things she says is like, as far as your emotions go, like how you're feeling when you take a trade, or just when you're trading in general, if you kind of just verbalize the emotion, it can help you control it and just take it into consideration better. Um, and I've been starting to do that in my journal. I'm bored, tired, cranky, and looking for a dopamine hit. So I, when I start reading the news headlines, that's when like my mind is not in the right place. Mentally, I am not in a good place. Uh, and so I was shorting Apple purely out of like boredom and like a toddler like crankiness. And so anyway, let's move on from the bad day. Let's talk about the good days. So Thursday I traded. Let's talk about SLDB. I think that was the first one. So okay, that's good enough. You guys can see that. Yeah. So this one was pretty good. So right out of the gates, this was the pre-market high level here, and it had made a nice run pre-market. So I thought maybe this thing could keep going, so I was a little cautious. But it popped up just over that level to the 580s, and you can see I took my first profit really quickly, and then the rest of it. And then, actually, this might not have been the whole thing. I don't know how much detail you guys that it really helps to go into if you really want to know what all my entries and exits were, but here they are. So you can see I shorted 200 at 575. I took 100 off at 560, another 50 off at 526, another 25 at $5. That's what it was. This was still an open position. So I had 25 shares after this cover here at $5, and then I added back 75 to make my position 100 shares. And then I took 50 off down here at 503. I was looking for it to crack 5 there and crack VWAP. It did not, and I stopped out of the rest up here at 550. I don't remember what my average was at this point, but I think the stop out was still I can't remember if I gave some back there or if I broke even. I think I probably gave a little bit back. But that was a good little trade. I mean, I was pretty happy with how I managed this. One thing I am noticing is that this first profit take here, um, I'm either doing it too quickly and or I'm doing it with too much share size. So I'm taking like half my position off here. Part of it here on this trade was that I thought this thing could literally bounce back to this pre-market high area where I took the profit and just keep going. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to take like half the risk off here. I'm not upset with this one, but there's some other trades where I have a better feeling that it's just going to fade, and I'm still taking half my position pretty early, and then I just don't have much left to take profit with, you know. And so um, that's one thing I have to work on is maybe only taking a quarter off pretty early, just to because I like to have some in the bank. Like, all right, just take some off, have some in the bank. That way, if it goes back on you and shit goes sideways, you know, you can just manage your risk a little bit better. You're not in your full position when it goes against you. Um, so I don't know. That's something that I'll probably start working on is maybe only taking a quarter of my position off early in certain situations. Again, like I said, in this one, I was okay with this because the strength that this had pre-market, it popped above pre-market high, so I was really shorting over pre-market high, and then um, yeah, I kind of had a feeling this thing was going to continue strong, and I wasn't wrong, right? I mean, it held this $5 area here, and then gave another run even back up above this. Um, so anyway, okay, so at this point, at this exit here, this cover, I was flat, right? And shit. And so I wrote a little bit about something here about once I've got the winter lock in, I'm hesitant to take smaller scalps with smaller size, and I'm not sure why that is. So that was good. I was thinking a little bit about like why did I not trade this? Basically, like why not scalp this? You know, this is a nice pop here. Um, so even if it's maybe if I think this thing's gonna climb, why not just scalp the pullback? You know, get a little, even with 50 shares or whatever, just little scalps that add up. And I'm not sure why I'm not I'm not doing that more often, but um, I think part of it is just habit from the when I had the $2.95 per ticket commission structure, because it was expensive. The little scalps didn't pay because commissions would wipe you out. So anyway, yeah, I wish I would have traded this, obviously, and even this was a nice area to get short again. But you know, I was sitting on this winner. Again, these numbers are, you know, if you're watching some of the big guys out there that are making tens of thousands of dollars a day, these numbers are tiny little things, right? Um, but sorry, I got distracted for a second. Um, but that's a pretty good cushion of a winner in my in this account, right? For what my expectations are, and so I'm sitting there thinking, well, I don't really want to give that back, and that's not really a good mindset to have. Oops. If the stock is showing you what you want, right? If the stock pops like this, even if I don't take this one, this level holding like this, oof, oof, that's ripe for shorting right there, right? Um, so that whole not wanting to give back and missing these opportunities is it's a bad mindset to have. I think it's a poor mindset to have. So I've got to work on that. I almost called it a loser mindset, but I don't want to be that harsh on myself. And this thing about taking those smaller scalps, that'll be much easier when my normal position size is larger, right? So right now I'm taking like 100 to 200 shares position size, depending on the range the stock's given me, right? And And so, once I'm up to like, okay, this is a 500 share position, this scalp being 50 shares is going to be like, okay, yeah, that's just a small little scalp, whatever. Now it's like half my normal position size, which is still, if it goes against you, that can wipe you out, especially if you freeze or you don't manage it well, or if it really just starts running, if it starts taking off. Anyway, there's a lot to think about there, and I don't know if it helps you guys for me to think about that shit out loud, but hopefully it does. And if not, then screw you. It's good for me. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be mean to you guys. All right, so in the meantime, and this maybe was partially why I didn't take some of that stuff on SLDB. Maybe I didn't see it. I'm looking at this stuff in hindsight right now. Let's look at the ADES trade. So this had a pop to $6, which I shorted. So you can see my first entries here, and then I added at 6.15. Actually, I don't need to read that. So I shorted 200 here at $6. And see, this one doesn't have as much range, so my initial entry is a little bigger, right? Whereas the last trade, I think my entry was $100, so, or 100 shares. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So 200 shares at 6, and then added at 6.15. That was part of the plan all along. I don't remember what this level was, but there was something, either a pre-mark, I don't know if that was pre-market high, or if that was like a previous pivot point from the daily chart. But I was like, okay, we'll get in at 6. We'll have something to add at 6.15, and then if it goes much above that, then I've got to start to recycle and get out of the position. And so that's what I did. So I'm really happy with my management here. So when it popped to 6.15, and then I took some profit, a third of the position off at 6.07. So I'm not sure what my average works out to be here. I can figure it out, but I don't feel like doing the math because it's Saturday morning. So this was kind of okay, this isn't doing exactly what I want it to do, so let's take a third of this off and just size down a little bit. And I tend to think of my positions in terms of, sometimes where my average is, but also like, okay, this is basically a profit take from this entry. It's not from here, but it is from here. And so if I'm going to start to recycle, I just need to keep taking profits for my entries. Anyway, it popped back up after I did that, but didn't break above the previous level that I had made. And then, actually, that's wrong. I misspoke, I think. I think this happened, and then the rest of the, right, this happened, and then the rest of this candle had to happen. And then, anyway, so popped back up above my entry. Didn't break up much higher, though, not to the point where I needed to start to recycle, and then dropped down here. And then you can see the rest of this trade is I'm banking. So I took another 100 off here at 590, and then 50 off at 574 on this drop. Didn't get anything down here. By the time it hit down here, now I'm holding the rest of the 50 to see if we can get like a run to low of day, or even a low of day crack. And then here's the mistake I made. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video for a second there. My dog just went apeshit at my neighbor who was trying to mow his lawn. So what I was saying is, here I put on I think a stop once it was down here above this level here. I was hoping I could zoom in on that. There we go. I put a stop above like this level, I think. That's why I got stopped out here. It was too tight of a stop. Really? Sorry guys, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I was thinking I could zoom in and zoom out with my scroll, and I can't. It was too tight of a stop. Really, my stop should have been up here, or I should have just taken profit down here. You can see this ended up doing the whole, like, it faded below low of day, and good lord, down here into the 4s, right? So that would have been a nice hold, but it didn't happen. So let's go back See if I explain that. Yeah, so you can see I'm holding here, and I said it's almost time to set a range order and bail. So the range orders are, you set a stop. In DAS, that's basically an order. One cancels the other order. So, you can put a stop up here and a target down here, and when either one of them hits, it fills and then cancels the other one, right? So that's what I'm talking about there. And then while I'm holding this 50 shares of this, I took this second trade on SLDB, which is just a little scalp here. This was nice. This was one of those little scalps I was talking about. It was 50. Oh no, wait. Yeah, 50 shares from 4.7 to 453. You can see it was only a $9 trade, but whatever, man, those add up. If I'd have taken all of these, like a little $9 trade here and a little $9 trade here and a little $9 trade here, I mean, you start putting nines together, and pretty soon you're padding this P&L pretty well. That's assuming you get all of them right. You could get short here on this little pop, and then it goes against you. Then you get into the ugly part where you're like adding to this little, what was this little 50 share scalp, you're adding to it, and now it's a 150 share position size, and you're not sure what to do, and you're thinking about stopping out, and there's all kinds of shit going on there. But anyway, I took one, and it worked, so that was good. So I considered, let's go back to ADES. I considered adding 50 shares, I think, here, which would have been a good idea. Where's 5 sevens? Yeah. I considered adding shares on this pop, like 50. That would have been nice, because I was going to basically tighten my stop there and then tighten the target as well. The volume was really low. You can see I even said I set a range order and walked away, but I kept the stop tight, and it just barely got hit before fading to the target and beyond. So that's what happened here. I tightened up this stop really tight when I set the range order. I probably should have given it a little more room, or just, like I said, taken profit down here. I probably walked away in this area, I'm guessing. And then you can see it just barely tapped. Anyway, probably too much detail. It is one of my best days ever. It's like my third best day in the CMEG account or something like that, I think. And then Friday's another good day, total profit of 88.75. So let's just look at this quickly, because I feel like this video is getting way too long and most of you are probably gone. But if this level of detail and if my ramblings are actually helping or making sense to some of you, then by all means, let me know. And I will keep rambling every week when I do these. Hell, I used to do these every day. Imagine the amount of rambling I did then. So let's go over OMI really quickly, and then I'll show you my other stuff, the prop report. So, Jesus, my brain is not working. Sorry. So you can see OMI. This was one of those. It popped up. Somebody called this out in the chat room that I'm in. Early, they were like, "Oh, look at this thing running," and I actually think they might have called it out as a long trade, which would have been good. I mean, if you caught it early, in one of these little pullbacks here. Again, this is a minute chart, so I had kind of like, oh, that's nice, it's running, and it's not really my bread and butter. It's kind of a higher float and a higher. I think there's higher institutional ownership, if I remember correctly, and I was like, meh. Oh yeah, there it is. Higher float and higher IO. I should just read my journal. I apparently am doing a good job of journaling lately. So I was looking for it to make this high, pull back, make the high again, and then maybe short that double top. But which again, not really my bread and butter play, but it is a really low risk because I set a super tight stop on that, depending what I see on the tape. And so anyway, I didn't. It came down here. This was a nice little pop that probably could have got a good entry there, um, but I shorted this pop here. It was to a 75 level. What was it, 24.75? Yeah. So let's look at the entries and exits there. So I got in at 24.69, and again, I was going to keep a tight stop on this one. Only 100 shares because it had a pretty good range on it. Um, and then you can see the rest. So it took some profit here at 24.41. Um, that was half the position, 50 shares. Took another 25 at 23.77, and oh, I'll explain I'll explain this in a second. So at this point, somewhere in here, I set a range order and I walk away. I don't remember what my targets were. It's it's in the it's in the journal. So I had been setting range orders and adjusting them. So my last one was 23.65 for a stop and 22.53 for a target. So this is gonna be hard to do. I'm not gonna be able to show you those really with levels, but anyway, I was basically like, all right, well we'll set a stop above this, and then we'll target 23.50 or 22.50 area. Um, and I had yesterday off. I didn't have to work yesterday, so I knew I could manage it toward the end of the day if I needed to. So I went and took the dog for a walk, and then later I adjusted to 23.26. This is when I got home. 23.26 and kept my target at 22.53. That's I think where it made like this lower low. Anyway, um, yeah, it had cracked 23. I think that here it cracked 23, come down below $23, and then now it was like kind of consolidating right under $23. That's this period. Look how low the volume is. And then yeah, so that's where I had this target. You can see my target gets hit down here. Oops. Yeah, can't get used to this thing. Um, but then you can see there's this one little like, what the hell is this? So when I had left and then returned, basically I had 25 shares left. When I adjusted, when I had to do this order, I actually had to just make a new order rather than adjust the old one. And I made it for, I was thinking I had 50 shares left, so I made it for 50 share cover. So I actually ended up being long here, 25 shares. So I gave some back a little bit, but it was literally like $2, I think. I don't know why that's not showing up here. That's interesting. Or is it all part of this one trade? Oh, it's all showing up in the one trade. Here. There. Now we split it. So there it is. Yeah, I gave back 225 plus commissions. Those bastards. Okay, let's do something better with our time. Sorry, guys, this is rambling. I feel like. In case you haven't seen my videos before, I put that up there so that you don't see my account information. This is my prop report for the week. So you can see I ended the week net. I was up 202.65. This 125 is my monthly fees from September. So um, we're going to go over September in just a minute here, but so really I wouldn't if I was doing a regular weekly recap, that wouldn't really come into play. Right, that's more of a monthly fee. So anyway, take from it what you want. It doesn't really matter. My gross was 221.25, $13 in commissions and a couple of other fees. Um, so I mean that's a pretty good week for as slow as it was. and I didn't really have any big losses. I didn't have any big losses. So that's good. I'm happy with this. Let's take a look at September. All right, so this is 9/1 to 9/30. So my gross was 570. Commissions 142. Man, that's still a lot, right? Even with the better commission structure. The first couple days, of course, were the old commission structure, and I've got 20, 40. Shit, that's $70 right there. Oops. So, take $50 off that. It's just, for the new, if I had the new commission structure at that point, the lower commissions. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's with CMEG, their normal thing is $2.95 per ticket, but there's I was turned on to a discount code where you can get per share commissions even on lower share sizes of 0.004 per share, which is way better for the type of trading that I'm doing. But anyway, so gross 570, commissions 142. You can see my net is 405 with those in mind, and then there's $241 in fees. So let's talk about those real quick. 125 of that is just the platform fee. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get charged that every month. And so that still leaves, $120 to, $115 rather. Where's that coming from? So those other fees are locate fees. So earlier in the month, you can see here on these days, I was locating shares to short, and not only do you get the per share fee, but there's a $25 flat fee every time you locate with CMEG, which is a giant pain in the ass. It makes shorting really hard to do in CMEG accounts, and they won't waive the fee. I tried to get that waived, and they won't do it. So that sucks, but that's why now I'm just waiting on stuff that's easy to borrow. So you can see my net for the month is 164.94, which is great. I mean, it's still profitable, right? But Jesus, the fees. That is soul crushing. We can look really quickly at what it looks like on TraderView. That's a nice P&L curve, yeah? Look at that. I'll take that. It's not so bad. Oh, that includes my last 2 days, though. Hold on. Do this. Yeah. You can see it flattened out here at the end of the month, but let's look at these stats. I think these are important. So there's my gross profit again. $12 per share. That's pretty nice. Or I'm sorry, $12 per share would be awesome. 12 cents per share, and average winner about the same as average loser with a 75% win rate. That's profitable trading. Yeah, not much more to say about that. All right, largest gain is pretty big compared to the largest loss. So yeah, all these numbers make sense. That's what profitable month looks like. If I just scale this up and then get rid of some of the fees, yeah, things are looking pretty good if I can keep this going, right? So anyway, I think that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I'll probably make a separate video just to talk specifically about those fees and what I want to do about that, but that will be at a later time. So again, I know this was a long one. I'm at a recording time of 34 minutes, almost 35, so I apologize for that, but you can always watch these at 4.5 speed or something, so that my ramblings are a little faster. So hope you guys took something away from this. Take care.